If you like Japanese culture or you've come to Japan on holiday and enjoyed yourself, there's a chance that the thought of moving to Japan has crossed your mind at some point. How great would it be to eat sushi every day or go and see Mount Fuji on a whim? Wouldn't life just be so cool? But for a lot of people, most people, dare I say the vast majority of people who think this, moving to Japan is not the right choice, and I'm going to explain why. If your attitude is, I just want to move to Japan, then we're off to a bad start. Because if you just want to move to Japan, then that means going for the easiest job available, which, for almost anyone coming from a Western country, is English teacher. Those easy to get English teaching jobs can be split into two major categories: Eikaiwa teacher, which means teaching at a privately run English conversation school, and assistant language teacher, or ALT, which means being a classroom assistant during English lessons in a real Japanese school. The reason these jobs are so easy to get is because they don't require any special qualifications besides a university degree in anything, and the degree is only required because the government requires it for all work visas. What you have to know is, a lot of these English teaching companies are really shady. They know they're the entry point for a lot of people who want to move to Japan, and there are always hundreds of people lining up to make that move, so they have no incentive to treat you nicely and make sure you stick around. They tend to pay the lowest salary you can survive on, they play tricks to lower your work hours so they don't have to pay benefits, they make you work lots of evenings and weekends because that's when most people want to have English lessons, and there's no career progression because you can never rise above the rank of teacher. Generally, it's not a good work environment and it's not one that you want to stay in for long. So you can say, I'll become an English teacher, just to get my foot in the door, get myself in the country, and then I'll move into some other job later. And if you read a lot of moving to Japan advice online, that's often sold as an option, but it's more of a gamble than it sounds. Unless you're coming in with the skills, experience, and people skills necessary to build up your career in a foreign country, it can be very difficult to transition into something else. If you don't have those things yet, you might say that while English teaching will be your day job, you're going to work on yourself and your skills in your own time so that you can enter another industry. That is possible, but the impression I've got, having met a lot of Eikaiwa English teachers, is that work life is so crappy and demotivating with unfriendly schedules that make it hard to find me time, that it just saps the life out of you. Finding direction and motivation when work is draining you, when you've got no friends because you just uprooted your life to a foreign country, and when you can't speak the local language well enough to find a community and make connections, is so hard! Yeah, it's not impossible, but it's easy to fail. I've seen too many people stuck in these dead-end jobs, which is really why I wanted to make this video. I once met this American guy at a drinking party who was in his mid to late 30s, and when we all went round asking each other, who we were and what we did, he said, I teach English to little kids. Ha ha ha! And he let out this really strained laugh. When he said he'd been doing it for the best part of a decade, I kind of wanted to give him a hug because he was trying to smile about it, but it's clear he wasn't having a good time. Also, one of my housemates, when I used to live in the share house, used to be a programmer in the States, but he came to Japan to teach English at an Eikaiwa school. And they once made him work 35 days in a row without a break. I saw him on the 36th day and he was shattered. Last time I saw him, he was trying to levy his programming experience to search for a new job because his salary at the English school was so low that he wouldn't be able to renew his visa. But he was facing a hard fight and nowhere would take him. So even if you do have experience, there's no guarantee that you'll be able to transfer into the job that you want here. So, a breath. That's all been very negative. But not everyone gets stuck in these ruts. Not everyone teaches English. Not everyone hates their life in Japan. I don't. There are ways to build a satisfying life and career here, but honestly, the answer for the majority of Japan lovers is, you don't need to move to Japan to enjoy it. If you liked what you saw on holiday, or in a video, or in a picture or a book, then just come as a tourist, multiple times if you need to. The Japan you see as a tourist is so much more fun than the Japan that you see as a resident. You get to eat the best food, see the best sights, receive the best hospitality, and it's all crammed into a tight travel schedule, and it's awesome. It really is. You take home the memories and souvenirs and treasure them forever. But as a resident, you won't be traveling around so much, you won't be eating the best every day, the highlights will be more spread out, with a lot of normality in between. I love my life in Japan. I'm glad I came. It's probably the best decision I ever made. But this amazing life where I'm doing the job I want, surrounded by people who I love and care about, only came about thanks to some hard work and a lot of luck. It also happened because I knew before I came where I wanted to work, what I wanted to do, and how I was going to get there using the contacts that I already had. The real fun I've had living in Japan has been through meeting people, growing as a person, and finding myself, which isn't really related to Japan. Moving to another country was the catalyst for me to reinvent myself as a more interesting and outgoing person, but I could have done that anywhere. In summary, why you shouldn't move to Japan. You shouldn't move to Japan because you think Japan is cool, or you want to eat sushi every day, or you've watched too much anime, or you've built up this image of Japan inside your head as somewhere that you'd do anything to get to. Even if you're working the most dull job every day, as long as you can breathe Japan air, everything will be fine, is not a good attitude to have. Why you should move to Japan. You should move to Japan because moving to Japan will benefit you personally some way in the long term. If it's going to open up new job opportunities or new opportunities for personal connections and give you some kind of lasting experience that you'll be grateful for in the future, then yes, moving could be the right choice. I hope that clears things up. As always, please like the video, subscribe, and leave any questions or requests for future topics you'd like me to talk about in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye.